Big brands versus private labels. Who is actually winning on Amazon? So it's always been the big brands that have been hugely successful on Amazon, dominating search results. But what we've seen over the years is private label sellers evolving. And actually, they're the ones that are agile and really mastering it when it comes to understanding the algorithm. And we're seeing fantastic results from private label sellers that are even swiping market share from under the big brands' feet. So today I'm going to be walking through and talking about what these private label sellers are doing that's making them see great results, and what is it that big brands need to be focusing on to make sure that they can keep up with these private label sellers, but also not ignore them, because they are fundamental. If you want to succeed on Amazon as a platform, you can no longer ignore these private label sellers. Big brands have been on Amazon for years, but often this platform is an afterthought. It's not always a focus area. Typically, big brands will focus on physical stores, such as the key supermarkets, your Waitrose, your Sainsbury's, your Tesco. Whilst they're focusing on the physical stores, you've got these private label sellers that have evolved on Amazon as a platform, and they know how to master the platform too. They have all the different strategies that enable them to always be present on that first page of search results. So the algorithm here, when it comes to Amazon, isn't about heritage, it's about performance, and it's about knowing how to win on Amazon. So how private label sellers are winning on Amazon? Firstly, it's down to speed and agility. They move fast. They can launch new products in weeks. They're constantly tweaking their content. They're constantly tweaking their ads. And what you'll find is they're launching new products whilst the big brands are still approving an image on Amazon. So they are moving twice as fast or even more than the big brands, completely agile. The second part is they control their content. Now, you as big brands are controlling your content, but what I mean by that is they're owning it from an optimization perspective. They are constantly tweaking, understand what's working, they're A/B testing, they're really defining those product pages. Yes, big brands have some really great product pages, but often what happens is those product pages stay there. They become static. They're not being regularly optimized. These smaller brands are constantly optimizing new keywords, etc., to make sure that they maintain their spot on the first page of search results. The other thing that they're strong at is data, and they're mastering the data and algorithm. They are looking at insights. They're understanding what's working, what keywords they may need to rewrite their content for. They are looking at little tiny pieces of data that highlight to them potential opportunities for even more growth. And those are the things that is really helping these smaller sellers win on Amazon, just down to the pure fact that they can move fast. They're looking at the data and then constantly tweaking and experimenting. So why are big brands getting it wrong? It isn't necessarily the fact that they're getting it wrong. It's often a case of complacency. When you're a well-known brand, you can assume that everybody's just going to search for your product via your brand. But that isn't always the case. And even if they are, what you'll find is on Amazon, the top of search is all sponsored ads, and people are going to be bidding for your brand if you're a key player in that space. And that's often private label sellers. So what you'll find is if you type in your brand or a keyword that highlights your product, if you do that as a test, you'll probably find there are a lot of private label sellers hitting above the fold when it comes to search results, and they're the ones that you need to watch out for. So it's always not ignoring them, it's actually taking them seriously and thinking they're doing something here that works. Because if you ignore them, they're going to swipe market share from under your feet. So that's something that's really important for big brands, is that complacency element as well. Also, we talked about agility and speed. Brands are taking a very long time to sign off images, to sign off A+ content or any form of copy. And whilst that's taking forever, as I mentioned earlier, these private label sellers have already gone through their A/B testing and know what page works. Or a new feature came out for Amazon, they've already implemented it and you're still deciphering whether or not you've got the resources to do it. So that's really, it's what's holding big brands back, is that element where we're already well known, and also that bureaucracy and sign-off process that takes a long time. So what big brands can learn and do differently? So first of all, treat Amazon as a performance platform, not as a dumping ground. And I don't mean dumping ground as in you're just throwing products there and ignoring it. More the point as in that's not your area of focus. So make sure that you are putting as much emphasis in your Amazon store as you do with your physical stores, because it's effectively your online or your digital showroom. So that's one key thing. Also, make sure that you're empowering your internal teams to make decisions and to really shorten that approval process. So it's not taking weeks for them to get images up on Amazon. They can move just as quickly as the private label sellers. And also, on the subject of private label sellers, watch them. Watch what they're doing. Be curious. Don't assume that you've got all the answers because you've done all that market research. You've been in the industry for 30 years. You're a dominant player. Because actually you can check their pages out. You can see what strategies they're doing. Not be afraid to implement those as well. So those are the key 3 things that we recommend big brands do when you're trying to compete with those agile, smaller private label sellers. So next time you see your category leader on Amazon, look a little bit closer, because chances are that the brand that's appearing or dominating the first page of search results might not necessarily be the obvious, that well-known brand. It's often the smartest brand that have really understood Amazon and how the platform, algorithm, etc. works. So if you're sitting there thinking, actually, we need to start looking at making sure that we are looking at these private label sellers, or we don't feel that we're moving quick enough to be able to compete, or we need to improve our product pages, our ads, etc., reach out to Ecommerce Nurse and we would love to talk with you and see how we can help you grow and win on Amazon.